take this off. Getting a little warm in here. This topic's getting a little hot in here.
And I'm getting mighty tired of your trifling ways.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Anton's class, my Anton's classmates. And if you're new here, my name's Anton. I'm all about health and wellness, and part of my wellness journey included relocating to Africa for a large portion of 2021, and I do look forward to going back in 2022. What about you? Okay, I'm drinking this antioxidant drink. It's almost done. Do get your antioxidants, okay? They are very important for human health. They are essential, all right? And they are only found in plants. The ones with the darker colors like berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. Try to get some berries in every day. And hibiscus. Anyways, today's topic, African versus African American. And it's a very important topic, and this is actually take 2 that I'm doing. Anyways, you guys, the lighting is kind of bad. I do apologize about that. I'm gonna be investing in a superior ring light. The sun was out, but one of my brothers is quite loud, so I have to kind of film around that situation. Okay, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I do want you back here, okay, and engage in the comments if you feel so inclined. So in this video, when I say African American, I'm specifically referring to children of the diaspora who were people in Africa, particularly West Africa, who were captured, removed from their lives, and forcefully shipped across the Atlantic Ocean and enslaved in the Americas for centuries, okay? We were merchants and farmers and traders and astronomers and doctors and scientists and seamsters and seamstresses and mothers and fathers and embroiderers and manufacturers. We were everything. We were human beings in Africa living our lives, and we were removed from those lives, taken from our language and our culture and our customs, okay? And transported very horrifically across the Atlantic Ocean. So when I say African American, I'm referring to those people, myself included, okay? Some prominent African Americans are people like Beyonce, Michelle Obama, Jay-Z, Kanye West, Kendrick Lamar. The list goes on, all right? Those are just ones off the top of my head. But you guys know plenty more. Maya Angelou, all right? Stevie Wonder, all right? So when I say African in this video, I'm specifically referring to Africans who were born and raised in the continent, or who may have been born abroad, but their parents are directly from Africa, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, as an African American, what I will say is, growing up in America, there was zero education about Africa, okay? We received no education about Africa, and what we did get about Africa was negative programming, negative disinformation, negative stereotypes from the media, and that was about it. So what did that do to African Americans? Well, for one, it caused a lot of African Americans to want to distance themselves as much as possible from the continent of Africa. So I remember growing up with other African Americans, and many of them hated to be associated with Africa in any way. One example, there was this girl, she was Black American like myself, and she said to me one day, "Why do you always say African American? Why don't you just say Black?" Okay? And it was because she did not like the word African being tied to her, all right, or to our people. She preferred Black because that was more ambiguous, right? I preferred African American, and I still do to this day, because it draws on our history and our heritage in Africa. American history books, when they do talk about Black people, starts at our enslavement and then goes on. Okay? Our history starts in Africa with the Mali Empire, with the Ghana Kingdom, with the Nok people, with the Ashanti people, with the Yoruba and the Igbo and the Hausa and the Fulani and the people of the Cameroon, okay? We have a rich beautiful history, all right, with people wearing beautiful fabrics, okay, and beautiful structures, living in beautiful communities and civilizations, okay? But a lot of African Americans are not aware of that history because we weren't given that information. My father traveled the world. He had not been to Africa, but he was aware of Africa because his father was educated. And we had a dignified understanding of Africa, okay? My father did a very good job of making me feel dignified in my Africanness. He never made me feel less than. He was very educated about it, and he was aware that when I walked out that door and entered the world, that I would encounter people with negative perceptions about Africa, because he really strengthened my resolve about Africa. And sure enough, when I did go out into the world, I encountered so much ignorance about Africa. I encountered people who reveled in dehumanizing my blackness, which is sad, to be a child and live in a world in which you constantly have to validate your humanity simply based on the color of your skin. All right. So not only other African Americans, which was really sad, not only did they, make fun of me for listening to African music, but of course the white kids did. The white kids really were problematic when it came to being black in Southern California, in America, period, okay? All right, so that's just my experience, okay? I had some pretty horrific experiences with white folk growing up, just based on the color of my skin as a child, okay, with older adult white folk and younger ones as well. I'm not saying all of them are that way, but I had some pretty horrifically racist experiences, okay? And I'm saying it that way on purpose for the algorithm. So, but the sad thing is African Americans being miseducated as well, right? I remember African Americans would insult each other and say, "Oh, you look African," or "You look like you just came from Africa," or "Boy, you look African," "Girl, you African." That was an insult, okay? Unfortunately, not for me, but among themselves, okay? Of course, colorism came out of that, texturism, featureism. So anything associated with Africa was considered bad, and anything associated with outside of Africa was somehow better. You had so many African Americans claiming to be Native American as opposed to claiming to be of African descent, which was really sad, okay? So part of Anton's class is to help re-educate my people about the beauty of Africa and the experience of visiting Africa or relocating there, okay? So my homework to my fellow African Americans is to visit Africa. You have to make it out there, all right? When I was in Namibia in Swakopmund and I went to the beach, I remember walking into that water and seeing the waves lap against my feet. And I teared up, I cried, because I knew that I was experiencing the Atlantic Ocean from the African side. The first person in my bloodline for centuries, since we were taken from the Atlantic coast of Africa. I was coming and experiencing the motherland. Okay, so that was a beautiful experience for me. You can have that experience too, if you so desire. So, where are you going in 2022? So now, moving on to Africans, okay? So, Africans. I'm not African, so I'm going to speak not from experience, well, partially from experience, but also from what I've heard, okay? Africans were also miseducated about African Americans. They were told that we were mostly, okay, these are generalizations, they were fed stereotypes that we were thugs, unruly, unwilling, and incapable of assimilating into American society, that we were uneducated, that we were backwards, that we had no culture, etc. Now, of course, that is much as miseducation, and that's what they were fed by the media, right? Unfortunately, hip-hop played a role in that. Now, hip-hop is a beautiful, valid expression of art. It's not the only expression of art that African Americans have, but it is one of them. But one negative aspect of hip-hop is it taught the world, it had hip-hop that is generally popular hip-hop only is one-sided, generally. And it is the hip-hop that is more vulgar and that tends to show the more seedy grungy aspects of living in an inner city or urban society. All right. There's so much that goes into that right now, and I'm not going to give a dissertation about hip hop, but suffice it to say that they did inform their idea about African Americans partially through hip hop music videos. Okay. And that's not the best way to have an education or understanding of African Americans, because we are not a monolith. Okay. So I have encountered personally Africans who have said African Americans have no culture, or dismissively, you're just an African American, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay? African Americans do have a culture. We have a beautiful culture. Contemporary African culture draws heavily from African American culture. Hip hop, music, gospel music has influenced contemporary African music. R&B, soul, jazz, funk. A lot of these genres that African Americans created are influential to Africans in the continent of Africa. All right, our culture is very influential to African culture on the continent of Africa. So when Africans say African Americans have no culture, that is pure and simply wrong. Okay, it's false, and it's hurtful, and it's damaging. Okay, it helps create the divide, right? Now, in Africans' defense, when they do come here, they do sometimes experience pushback. Okay, I remember Africans being in my middle school, and the African Americans ostracized them. The Africans wanted to assimilate with the African Americans, and the African Americans would insult them. Okay, because remember, the African Americans were brainwashed into believing associating anything with Africa was negative. So when Africans came, we were reminded of our Africanness, and that was an affront to many Africans' senses. Okay, hold on, take this off. We'll get a little warm in here. This topic's getting a little hot in here. Just kidding. So, yes, a lot of African Americans were ostracized and not welcomed into the African American community. Now, I personally experienced that myself, even though I am African American. Because I listen to African music like Angelique Kidjo, love Angelique Kidjo, okay? I found out about her because my dad watched this show called Caribbean Rhythm, and I fell in love with her. And she also helped me have a positive image of Africa. Anyways, African Americans would really make fun of me for listening to African music, all right? And ostracize me in a way. And I realized I didn't fit in with that particular group of African Americans, okay, at that time. Okay, of course, we're not a monolith, but that was my experience. So Africans had it twice as hard, because not only were they literally African, they looked African, and these ones in particular had accents, and so they were ostracized by their own people, their own cousins, the African Americans, which is really sad. And so I've noticed a lot of Africans that I've watched their videos said that they ended up assimilating more with white Americans because they were accepted more from the white Americans than from the African Americans. That is really sad, okay? But I can see how that would happen, all right? So, unfortunately, that created a divide. So, excuse me, my nose is... So, unfortunately, that created a divide, and... yeah, we're all partially responsible, but it did have to do with our lack of education about Africa, right? And in the same token, the African Americans were given a lack of education about African Americans. I apologize if you hear any noise in the background. I do have a brother here who's quite loud, so I'm trying to work around that, okay? So, you guys, my homework for African Americans, as I said, is to get back to Africa. My homework for Africans is to, if you see an African American, or if you engage with one in the comments or on a video, welcome us home, all right? A lot of us, we've been separated from Africa for centuries, and we have not been educated about Africa, okay? Black Panther, funny enough, was one of the first films that really opened the door for African Americans to really become curious about Africa. And that's not the only thing, of course, but for some African Americans, that really kind of was a catalyst. YouTube has been tremendously helpful because it has given us a insider's perspective of Africa, okay? A lot of Americans still think Africa's a country. A lot of Americans think there's a language called African. A lot of Americans don't even know that there are thriving cities in Africa. Okay? And so it's pretty sad. So it just goes to show, I bring that up to let you know that there is a huge discrepancy when it comes to the education that we receive about Africa. And so again, part of the reason I'm here right now with you, my fellow Anton's classmates, is just to share that Africa is a beautiful, thriving place. Yes, it has its issues, but I honestly feel passionately about the fact that if Africans and African Americans work together, we can create a beautiful continent. I'm not saying that Africans necessarily need African Americans desperately, or that African Americans absolutely cannot survive in America, but it is my opinion that we are supposed to work together in order to create a thriving, beautiful continent, Africa. Because African Americans, we're children of the diaspora, and our ancestors are from Africa. So we do have a birthright, a genetic tie, a history that ties us to the motherland. And so please welcome us home. And yes, I know there are some African Americans who have been problematic. And just like there are some Africans who have been problematic. We're human. We have issues. But maybe let's work on our issues together. One way to help solve issues is through relationship. Okay, relationships are like mirrors. They help us understand things about ourselves, okay? I'm going to be honest. A lot of people called me out about leaving Rwanda, and I kind of understand why now, because a lot of them were, again, we only receive negative information about Africa, so when an African American says anything even remotely negative, then it kind of brings up emotion, a lot of emotion and backlash. So I understand that, and I have compassion for my Rundis, my Rundan brothers and sisters who felt bad that I left Rwanda, okay? I would love to go and visit Rwanda one day, okay? And who knows what the future may bring. But I really want to visit South Africa. I want to potentially learn isiZulu, all right? Those clicks are really challenging, but that's what I may be planning to do. And part of my wellness journey has included also trying to find practices to increase my wellness, like getting more sunlight, which we know is so important for us melanated beings. I got some sunflower seeds that I'm sprouting here, and I'm going to grow them in my garden outside. And another dream of mine is to one day own or be a part of a community in Africa. Okay, whether we own that land communally or if it's either way, I just want to be part of some land and building up land and nurturing the land and having permaculture and all that good stuff. Okay, a food forest. You guys, it's been great. Anton's class is a culture of wellness. And so if you engage in the comments, please keep your comments respectful and let's show our best behavior. Okay, as always, let's journey together. Let's get well together. And thank you for stopping by Anton's class. I look forward to seeing you here. If you would like a consultation, shoot me an email, antonsclass1@gmail.com. And they were free, but no longer. The consultations, because I've been getting so many emails. And of course, my time is not infinite, okay? I have a limited amount of time. I'm working full time with kindergarteners and first graders and second graders, okay? And so I don't have an infinite amount of time. So do shoot me an email, antonsclass1@gmail.com. Go follow me over on Instagram. All right, I kind of have quite a bit of fun over there, and I would love to see you there. You can shoot me a DM over there as well. Follow me on Instagram. And check out my website. Yeah, I actually have a lesson about African Americans versus Africans over, excuse me. And check out my website, antonsclass.com. I actually have a lesson over there about Africans versus African Americans. And yeah, I just wanted to share my perspective as someone who is now, as an African American who is living in Africa for a portion of 2021. And I can't wait to explore other parts of Africa. Okay, you guys, I really want to explore Senegal. So if you're in Senegal, please, let me know. And South Africa, as I said, Botswana, Kenya, those are like the top of my list. Okay, Senegal, South Africa, Botswana, Kenya. All right. So, anyways, in Ghana, I can't forget Ghana. Everybody wants to go to Ghana, including this guy. So, you guys, thank you for stopping by Anton's class. I hope to see you back here soon. Like this video. Share this video with your loved ones. Inspire them, okay, to come to Africa. All right, you guys. So, I'll talk to you later. Until next time, bye.